Hello.
The big question.
Late, that's a fine. Green Copeland.
Is what's going on with her, what was she during practice, and then, we have decisions to be made, we have 1 week left before the home opener, what are some of the key focuses for you this week?
Tasha's fine. It was an excused absence for me, from me for a personal thing. So she'll be back tomorrow.
And then just.
Um, Week left, without another exhibition game, we'll have basically, counting today, 6 practices, and a day off. So, we're gonna let, a couple roster things play out and let people compete over the night. You can see, at the end of practice today, we're trying to let our guys compete and, see how a couple things shake out. But, we got a really good group, and we got 15 players here right now, and they can all play. And I think all of them can play in the league. So, it'll be tough decisions.
Coach, in terms of.
Now you're late, you gotta wait.
I'm at the bend of the line now. We're talking about the pace of play, and that's the constant theme this preseason. When it comes to making those roster decisions, how much is fitting into what you guys want your pace to be going to be a factor in terms of just gonna make roster?
It's a factor. I would say that anybody that's here, we expect, a certain pace from. So, might have people that are better in the open floor. You might have some people that are better floor spacers. And, I would say we have expectations no matter who's on the roster of how our pace is. I don't know how much that'll factor into who we actually keep. I don't know if there's a huge difference between them, basically.
And then last season, and in fact, Tosh talked about it at media day, not taking days off. And there were a couple games last year that it felt like Atlanta, Indiana, where there were some games where the team just wasn't what we have seen throughout the year.
We swept both those teams though.
Oh, and
Yeah, I got
how
you.
much as a point of emphasis this year, especially starting out hot against New York, making sure that there are no days off.
Yeah, Toya said at the end of practice today, we just can't, we're not playing for the championship on May 19th. So you got to keep in mind that, the goal is to be as good as we can at the end of the season. So obviously we'll prepare and we got to win, try to win that game. But each day we're in here getting better. It's not tailored specifically to one opponent, even though that's the first one. So taking advantage of these days, because once you're in the season, you don't get a lot of practice days. I think our group has been really good. Their mental approach and focus has been outstanding. I don't think we've had a day yet where we walked out like, we just weren't here today, or that was an 80% effort or anything like that. And I think that's where having a good group of leaders kind of hold each other accountable to, just a little talk here and there, like, come on, like get our minds right back into this one. A team loses, somebody's usually huddling them and regrouping and getting ready for the next section. So it's just it's a lot of good voices pulling in the same direction. Didn't mean to bust you on that, but
with things coming into form, what would you say right now would be the best fit action wise for your team on offense?
I think we're trying to find a balance. And, we have different strengths in our group. You saw the other night that we've got some people, Slim, Tosh, that can really put some pressure on the rim off the dribble, and we need to open the court up for them. But then, Ariel, we've talked about needing to get some more off ball stuff, and get her a catch on the move. And Elena benefits from both of those things. So I think trying to find a mix and a balance where we're not all, we were kind of playing today, no ball screens, like where we can not default to certain things just because they're easy or their habit. But try to find a balance and make sure that, our penetrators know where their shooters are going to be, and that we can time up some screens off the ball to, shift the point of the view of the defense. And can you run all ball screens or all isolations? You got 5 sets of eyes staring at you. You can shift the focus and get some action going on behind people's heads. It just I think it softens the defense up and gets easier to play. That's the short answer. Long answer, short answer, to be determined. We'll see. We'll see what ends up being the best. Yeah.
Saw Kira and Christy looked like they were full participants while we were there. Are you ramping them up more now that you're kind of in this final week?
For sure. That's not to say, like, I would say Christy especially, and Maisha too, is we'll just be smart. I mean, we'll just be smart, not having them probably do everything every day. Christy obviously has so much experience that, you know, she can go do 1 or 2 reps in a drill and get out and she gets it. She knows what the concept is. So yeah, just making sure that everybody gets what they need specifically. Kira was full go. And you know, we'll just kind of keep an eye on it, but she should be full steam ahead.
With the final cut day, literally the day before you guys got put, would you like a couple days, or is it important to have a couple days where maybe you just have the core or the people that are actually gonna be here, or is that fine to push it all the way up to the last day and not really have a practice with the 11 that will be here moving forward?
Not 100% sure of the timing. One, because it's not totally my decision. There's a GM still. But I don't think, my guess is we won't go into that Thursday practice still needing to make cuts.
Gotcha.
As for Wednesday, I don't know, but I don't think we'll leave it that late.
Okay.
I don't think we'll go right up to the deadline, basically.
Gotcha. And just one last thing for me, what have you seen? How's the progression for Lee been? I know it was something that just stood out to me today. Like the ball swung around the horn, she caught it, hesitated, and kind of the defense kind of collapsed on her, and she took a side step, shot it. Next time down, she kind of caught it and shot it quickly, more aggressive, and like a lot of people gave her a high five. Kind of seemed like, hey, you want her to kind of catch it and be quick as opposed to hesitating. So I'm just curious how her progression has been through whatever we are at this point.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, it's going to be an adjustment. First time playing in this league, you know, the other nights or the other day's game was first time putting on a WNBA jersey, and it's going to take a minute. You know, she's not a traditional rookie because she's not 22 years old, but she's still new to the league and new to the country. And yeah, one of those things, you know, kind of skill things you figure out is those windows close faster in this league. And so having to be able to catch and shoot quickly, you know, she got the one kind of shuffle travel in the game the other night, so she's got to work on some of that footwork. But the biggest thing, I think, whether you shoot it or not, is being mentally anticipating that you're going to catch and shoot, and she can play off of that. So yeah, some will just be some adjustments. She seems a very quick study, and is not lacking confidence. So now it's just a matter of, you know, taking drill work and applying it.
I forgot one last thing, and I don't know if you guys asked this question before I got in.
Nobody actually asked the question. I was just playing it up. Yeah.
Once you went back and watched tape, it was pretty much the same as what you thought post game, or did anything else stand out to you about the exhibition game once you got to sit down and review it?
I think I see some progress. You know, I think our early offense was pretty good, but not great. And so there were some opportunities for us to get out a little quicker after we rebounded the ball, or even after Atlanta scored, that, you know, if we want to play with pace, as alluded to before, that we can't just waste possessions where we have an opportunity to go, especially with some of the athletes we have that can run the wing and throw it ahead. So that'll be, you know, an emphasis over the next week, obviously, and throughout the year. Defensively, I thought we were pretty good and needed more cleanup than overhaul. Need some cleanup in some of our coverages, and especially with a couple of the newer ones, just to get our terminology down. But I thought it was a good progression from our first exhibition game.
Appreciate you.
First off, good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon.
Want to talk about the tangibles first. I know this L kind of made a little error to Atlanta and the spot she likes. They ran over, talked about it. Shakira was more vocal. Even for Slim to be a new player, even though they embraced it, she's really been vocal as well. Can you just talk about that communication piece you're seeing from the team?
Yeah, it's a necessity. I mean, it doesn't matter if you're new, rookie, veteran, whatever. Like, to be on the court, you have to talk. You're letting your teammates down if you don't, and it's the only way to build, you know, trust and chemistry over the course of the year. And you mentioned, I won't say old Elena, tall Elena, not little Elena. Of one of her big things that she is, you know, has improved and is trying to improve on is being able to problem solve quickly on the fly. I think I talked about it one other day where she sees every coverage, so she can let her teammates know a lot how she's being played, how to throw it to her, where to throw it to her. And so, you know, to see her doing that is definitely a positive.
I know we talk a lot about the players, but see Coach Ashley on the sidelines, being a ref.
I know, I made a ref today. The worst job in practice ref, the worst job. Can't give any text, nothing.
It's the camaraderie, just when they talk about,
Mhm.
you see the synergy, that's why I keep asking you about this. Each day I come in here, I'm noticing it's rock solid. Just what has that been like? You guys are training.
Yeah, just getting good people. I mean, I think, Ashley was the only new person on staff.
Mhm.
And we think she's just a good human being who has a lot to offer. And I wouldn't have kept everybody else here if I didn't think they were good people. So just trying to get a good mix. Somebody else asked me kind of my favorite thing so far, and it's just like, it's just a quality group of human beings who care and want to win, but want it to feel a certain way and interact a certain way. So, inter-staff and inter-player is great. And then when you mix the whole group, it's a good vibe right now.
And then last one for you, because it is a team. The practice guys are really playing good. They're playing passing, cutting. They're coming in waves. How is their progression help the ladies?
They got beat today though.
Yeah,
They got beat today.
They got beat.
No, it's a fan. We have an excellent group of practice guys. Some holdovers from previous years and some new faces. And I think that we were talking about having good days and no days off. Like if you don't bring it against them, you're going to get scored on and disrupted and all that. So I think that has helped the level of our practice, even just mentally, of knowing once they're on the court, we have to be on, we have to be sharp. Yep.
Can you just talk about how great the matchup is going to be on Friday? This great home opener, great first test for the team. I think everyone has a lot of chatter around the W about Vegas and New York, and I think a lot of people underestimate how great we are and how we're bringing back a lot of solid players in our team. So, glad together, bringing a lot of vets. And you just talk about how exciting that is. It's going to be a great test, a great first matchup.
I'm going to talk about Friday a little bit. I don't want to talk about it too much because I feel like we're not quite there as a team yet in terms of getting ready for that game specifically. But obviously it's going to be exciting. There's been a lot of hype with New York, and deservedly so. They brought in that's a heck of an offseason for a team to have. But it's just going to be fun. It's going to be a great test for both teams. We got to prove it. Like we got to prove there's no like belonging in a conversation or getting respect, or you got to prove that you're a good team by winning games. And that's all that it really matters. At the end of the day, like how people evaluate you or what they think about you doesn't really matter because there's a scoreboard and a standings. So we just got to worry about ourselves for right now, and we'll worry about New York when the time comes next week as we get closer to game prep. But it's one game out of 40. So fun way to start though.
We'll go last question to Jen.
Hey, Eric.
Hey, Jen.
Just curious, you spoke a couple days ago about how Zahri's going to have to adapt her game a bit depending on who she's playing with, especially who the other post player is. And we saw Maisha have to do some of that last season also. And I'm just curious, like, number one, how tough is that for players in your experience? And number two, how do you know when someone's like ready for that step?
That's the second time that's happened to me this week, where the question about the player is as they walk through the door into the room. No, I'm gonna talk about you now while you're standing there, which I'm sure you're gonna love. Amanda's right here, and she's been in the league a while. We've talked, from our initial conversation about people she's playing with, and she kind of played with a different group today and got some minutes with Maisha today in practice. And one, because she can shoot and because she can protect the rim, her game translates to whatever bit we put her on the floor with. But yeah, it is different. Like when you're in the game with Elena, you got to play a little bit differently. Elena's going to get certain spots on the floor, and she's going to be a spacer more often than not when she's not in the action. So you got to adjust a little bit, and you got to roll a little bit more, or set some great screens, sometimes screen for her. And when you're in the game with other players, it's a little bit different. But that's not the same as putting somebody and saying they're not allowed to do things, because we still want to, Amanda and others to pick and pop and slip and roll and space when they're not in the action. So she's got to mostly be herself. She just has to think about a little bit who she's in the game with. Does that sound about right? Accurate? You got anything to add? Okay. I think that was my last answer. So I think you're up. Thanks, Jen.
Thanks, Coach.
See you, everybody.
That's it. That's all I got. That's all I got.
I got about 2-3 sentences.
Mm-mm.
Where's the bathroom? And that's it.
So I don't even know that. Oh, wait, baño.
Baño.
El baño.
After that, that's it.
We can start with in-person
I'm
questions.
crying.
Okay, yes, we'll start. I'm sorry. Coming out of the exhibition game, a couple weeks in, you getting your feet grounded, you feel more comfortable, just more acclimated in general?
Yeah. I think the main thing, like coming here to Washington and to this team was more so like I felt very comfortable right away playing with the girls. There's some great communication on like what they want me to do, how they want me to do it, and vice versa, how to get to know and play with each other better. It was more so of like getting into like WNBA game shape, right? That's so different compared to being in Europe. You feel like you're in great shape out there, and then you come here and you're like, shit. I'm sorry, but like, so getting these games under our belts is really good. And also just seeing how we play with each other against others. And I've had a lot of fun, right? We playing around, everyone getting minutes, but it's just so much fun. And like, it makes you want to go harder in practice and like in the games because you're playing with such a beautiful group of people. And it's like, we're just having fun. Like we're really living in the moment. And that's what I appreciate the most. I don't even know if that's what she asked, but I felt like that was very important to say.
No, I think it's important to say. So are you gonna join the dance crew with Tasha in the?
Absolutely not. I don't dance. No.
Not happening?
No, I will hype them up. I don't even clap like before. Yeah.
Just one more from me. I want to ask about, you've known Christy forever. What is it about her that maybe, or what's something underestimated about her, what she brings to the court, how she sees everything, her coach's mind that maybe we don't notice, that as somebody who's played with her and knows her well, that sticks out in your mind about her that maybe doesn't get as much attention?
Just like the focus of detail, right? It's like she will say or notice things that you've been doing your whole life, whether it's like good or bad, but she will notice it right away and then help you adjust to either like keep going or like adjust it to something better. And I remember the first time we watched film together, I was like, holy, like she noticed everything. And it's just such a beautiful thing to have that in someone as your teammate. Because most of the time it's the coaches. And like a lot of times, like we hear them like nag on the same things, right? Like I'm trying to adjust it, but like it takes time, right? And it's always the same thing with the coaches. But then hearing that from a teammate is like, all right, but like she says it in a different way because, she's in the same shoes as I am.
Thank you.
When you are on the court with different post players, like Eric Thibault was just explaining, how much of an adjustment do you have to make with the reads and all of that with playing with Elena Don or playing with Maisha or Shakira? Yeah.
So I haven't really played with Shakira yet. I just got to play today with Maisha, but with Elena, and I was talking to someone about it right after we played Atlanta. It's different with playing with her because I've always been fortunate enough to be on teams with all-star post players, right? I've always had those great post players, but I never played with one that's like asking me to come and set a ball screen, like, so now it's like I have to think of her as a guard and then make the reads from that, which is like really hard. Like you see someone that I think she's even taller than me and I'm like, I don't know what you're about to do, but I got to hold it a second. So I'm still getting used to that and learning. And I keep asking her questions like throughout the scrimmage, like in practice as well. Like, what do you want me to do here? Because this is brand new. I love it, but I have no idea what I'm doing, So it's still like learning. And even though it feels like I've been here my whole life, like it feels like I've been here forever, we still in the middle of camp. So like, I think that's the positive of things. Like we're still getting to know each other.
First off, good afternoon, man.
Hi,
How you doing?
great, how are you?
All right, I'm doing really good. I think Candace Parker once said it, time, you don't have to tell your story, time will. And I just getting to know you for the first time, it's almost like I've known you from all, like, the positivity, your warmness, and I read and heard some stuff that was heartbreaking, but getting to know you and like for myself, characters A1, just, what is a message you give the Mystics fans that you can tell them from your mouth how a person you are?
Thank you, that was very beautiful.
Okay.
I always say this to people. I think I was placed on this earth to be a light, right? And I was fortunate and blessed. Sorry, this is emotional. Whoa. I was fortunate enough to have basketball as my platform to bring that light to people. Whether it's, just making someone smile by being goofy or playing hard or being excited for my teammates. You never know what anyone goes through, how their day is going or looking. So if I can bring light to their life, even if it's just for a second, then I did something good. And that's kind of how I want to carry myself. I just want this world to be a better place. And I'm so, so grateful and blessed to be in the position that I'm in. Right. And what you just said just warmed me a lot. So thank you.
I appreciate you, because I think that's important. And I got 2 more facts. So sometimes in life, coming to a new experience can be scary, but you're able to come with Slim and Christy. How did that kind of ease your mental, knowing I got my soul says with me coming into a new city?
Yeah, I mean, that was crazy, right? Because we like the Three Musketeers. So like we knew Christy was coming here and then Slim signed, and then I was like, I don't know what I'm doing, where I'm going. And then I got traded here and I'm like, we really meant to be. Like we meant to be together, right? So that helps a lot. And they know how my last couple of years been looking on a real personal and deep level. So even hearing them say like, you are meant to be next to us. Like, so we got your back, because we know all the hard days, all the days where I was like, fuck it, I'm done,
Yeah.
They are now here to lift me up and push me even on the days that I'm happy and good. It's like, it's a blessing.
And I kind of want to just follow last month where you said happy and good. Outside of basketball, what makes you happy?
Personal space.
That's good.
No, for real. Like, I love spending time with like people that bring me light and like elevates me, but I also love my personal space. I love being at home, chilling, talking to my family because of the time difference. But yeah, I'm Swedish, right? No, okay, I'm from Sweden.
No. When you said the time zone, I think that's why it just was a reminder. Like,
Yeah,
you
it's
have
a
fans that
yeah.
see that people don't really take account of.
Yeah, so it's a 6-hour time difference. They're 6 hours ahead. So usually I speak to them like in the morning or like right after practice. And then right now I'm on the couch watching Girlfriends or Sister. Yeah, I'm a creature of habit. So come home and I don't leave the house.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jen.
Hey, Amanda, how are you?
Great, how are you?
I'm good. I've got 2 questions for you. First one, you've talked pretty much every time you talk to us, you mention how grateful you are to be here, how happy you are to be here. It makes you emotional. And I'm curious, when you're on the court, does that like sense of gratitude and joy, like, do you use that, or is that something that you don't want to get too emotional? So you kind of like, how do you handle that when you're on the court? Do you use that, or do you kind of try to compartmentalize?
It's something that like I don't necessarily like think of like when I'm on the court, like, oh, I'm so happy to be here. It's more so I feel safe. I feel safe in a sense that I'm allowed to be me. Right. And that's something that I've been missing in my life on the basketball court for the last couple of years. So I do something and I mess up, I know I'm still safe. I know that they are counting on me to do better next time, rather than that being something that, puts me aside or whatever the case might be. So I think the safety net is what I think of, or like what I feel more so. It's not something I constantly think of, but I feel it. And that's something that I always needed in my life. And now I finally have it again. And yeah, but I want to say there was at one point today, Coach E was talking and I was like, I'm so happy, you know, but then I was like, focused to what he was saying. But yeah, that was probably the one time that I was like during practice, like, I'm really happy.
That's awesome. I'm so glad you're feeling that way.
Yeah.
The other thing I just want to ask you, what are some things you've been able to do off the court with your teammates during training camp? Have you made it to brunch yet? Like how are things going on off the court?
Okay, I love brunch for those who don't know. Like I love brunch. So we've been to brunch. Yeah, that's we've been to brunch. I love brunch and I love that brunch like lasts longer than like 2 hours. It's like a whole day activity. And then by 9, I'm home and I can do my facial and go to bed and put my phone on do not disturb. So yeah, it's great. And that's what we've been doing. Planning on going to a couple museums. But I honestly also been like really tired. So like going home to my personal space, been great.
Sounds good. Any brunch recs for us?
I don't know the names. I just be going.
Fair enough.
I just get in my Isha's car. Oh, you gonna join me?
Randy,
Oh,
Just gonna sit here and listen to you answer questions.
oh, hi, honey.
we'll start with questions for Ariel in person.
Thank you. Bye.
Oh,
DC brunch ain't no joke. Get you. They're gonna be doing all day long. Cool. Hey, what's up, Aaron?
what's up? How are you?
Good.
I didn't see that the other day.
Yeah, I'm snuck over here.
Mhm.
Once you went back and looked at the tape of the exhibition game, kind of what stood out to you, both good, positive about yourself and the entire team?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that stood out to me, positive wise, is I could see our adjustments happening as we were talking about them. And I think that's something that early on, it feels good to know that we can do that as a team. And just little stuff that probably, I mean, I noticed as a player, we look each other in our eyes when we talk, we communicate, we're able to hold each other accountable and still be able to play through it. I also like how we rallied from mistakes. I mean, there were a few pointed times there where we had maybe 3, 4 in a row, but there was never 5, 6, 7 in a row. And I can appreciate that. Yeah, those are some things I noticed.
That's weird. What becomes the focus this last week? You know, we're what, a week away from the first game.
Yeah.
Does it get to being more I don't know. I feel like the beginning of camp is kind of more overall kind of things. As it started to get a little bit more focused, like what regular season kind of starts to feel like if you're getting, you know, I know you're not specifically prepping, but
I would definitely say our focus this year as a whole is to make sure that we get better every day. I think I like the idea of us focusing on us. Obviously, we have to prepare for other teams, and that doesn't mean we would disrespect them in any way. But we do have to make sure that we're getting better. And I think that's kind of our focus going into not only this first preseason game, but kind of this first stint in the season, is making sure that we're learning what we need to learn, gapping our weaknesses, making them strengths, and moving from there. Yeah.
as a guard group, y'all gelling like you want to be at this point?
I think so. I mean, it looks like it.
It looks like it.
Yeah, it looks like it. I mean, still in training camp. And we got people kind of in and out a little bit, especially people still trying to get, legs back from the plane and stuff like that. But I'm enjoying it. It looks good to me. I love how competitive our practice is in the guard position. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, appreciate it.
Sweet. Yeah.
So, Eric Thibault was talking about how, the different actions that you all can get into and what the strengths are so far for the team. And I know you're still a week away from the first game, but what kinds of things do you see have been a bonus or a plus in terms of how you're playing and what actions you're able to get into?
Yeah. Honestly, I won't get into actions because that's kind of like telling the whole life, But I think the biggest thing is our versatility to be able to just about anybody on the court at the time can either handle the ball or be able to hold the ball while an action is happening. And I think that's a big point because in order to reverse the ball, you have to have somebody that's comfortable with the ball, that can take it one-on-one, and that can make the pass or the play. And I think we have a good mix of that versatility-wise on our team right now.
I know you played against British,
Mhm.
but you guys really haven't had someone that has her specific skill set in here.
Mhm.
So now that you've had like maybe 2 weeks to practice with her, your counter, what does she provide to help you guys reach your goals that you guys maybe don't want to short term last?
Yeah, well, for one, she's a vet. She knows I play the game basketball, point blank period. She understands the game. And you want that at any point, you know, to have on a team. I think defensively, she brings something that we have, but she brings a different facet of it. I mean, she can get up the floor, she can pick up 94 feet. Her hands are active, like, way active. You got like, I would always know when I was going up against her, I had to be very wary of where I placed the ball. And, you know, it's good now to have that on our team. And just her ability to pick up the energy in a room, not just a court, but like a room. Like she's just such a good, like funny, chill, but exciting person. You know, you have no choice but want to speak to her. She walks in, starts smiling at everybody, saying good morning, how you doing? So yeah, she's a great basketball player, but I'm thankful to have good people in our locker room.
And then you brought up the energy. What's the
Yeah.
energy like with the team this year? I know every year each team has a certain kind of like identity. and
Yeah,
vibe.
for sure.
What's
I would say we want to win a championship. I mean, that's point blank period. We make that very adamant about what we do every day. Every reason we come on the court, every moment we come on the court, we know it's for a bigger purpose. And I think that's something that you can kind of see as far as the way that we warm up, the way that we recover after practice, the way that we shoot after practice, the way that we talk to each other in practice. Everything is leading towards a bigger goal. Yeah.
How you doing, Ariel?
Good. How are you?
Right, I want to
Yeah.
ask about, not the basketball player in person.
Mhm.
With covering you now for my second year, you've always been, you know, been focused, serious, but you started like you starting to shine through, you smiling more, having fun with it. What kind of changed for you to have we just saying the new side? I love it.
Yeah.
And it's-
Yeah. I wouldn't say it's a new side. I guess I'm just more comfortable, to be honest with you. I think that's a big thing. You just growing up, especially moving away from your family, it takes time to adjust. So for me, I finally feel comfortable. I finally feel like they've always been family to me, my organization, but now like I know that I can call them whenever I need. I know I have people on the outside that can help me. I know my family can get to me anytime that I want. I know how to cook now. You know, like it's like little stuff that you know you're just learning from time to time, and also understanding that basketball isn't the end all be all in my life. And being able to take time outside of the game to not only get to know myself, but you know, just to be. Yeah.
And one thing you said, especially grow the game, support Black women. And I've been telling you every day since I saw you, you're a small business owner.
Yeah.
So how does that feel, you know, balancing that?
Mhm.
Always plug your shop.
Yeah, I
all the
appreciate
shops
it.
you go, and then how does that feel?
Yeah. ArielAtkins.net, for sure. My shorts are out right now, but my parents are entrepreneurs. My parents worked in themselves since I was 3-4 years old. So for me, it's just a way of life. And honestly, I'm still learning how to balance it. Like I have stuff that I have to do every day for my business. But there's some days I'm just like, nah, like I'm not dealing with it. So it's really just a matter of finding the balance, honestly, because I don't have it right now. I don't know.
And just one thing, gotta be basketball. Just one thing you'd like for yourself positively that you've added to your game or maybe have extended to your game.
Added, extended / started to actually do. My pace is different. I don't have to go 100,000 miles per hour. I don't have to try to elevate over every single person. I'm not the tallest person. I'm not gonna be the highest jumping at every game. But my pace right now, I'm loving my pace right now.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure.
What are you cooking?
What am I cooking? All types of stuff. I look up on the internet. I just call my dad. Like if he's like, all right, I'll make ribs today. I'm like, all right, so I'll try to put chicken on the grill. So I'm not trying to make I'm not trying to base no ribs. You know, like it's something.
I forgot to ask, you do mama sauce?
I've had carry out. Yeah, I did. I had my kids at Boys and Girls Club. It was like you got to get carry out, and so I got carry out. It was good. Salt and pepper on the fries. Yep.
If there's no more in-person questions, we'll transition to Zoom. We'll start with Jen.
Hey, Ariel, how are you? Hard to follow that one up.
Yeah, right.
First up, just kind of a two-part question for you. Elena was talking the other day about how Christy is such a coach on the floor for you all, especially now. And then Ella was saying that she's been trying to learn from you. So I'm curious, like, what's something that you've picked up from Christy this training camp or worked with her on? And then what are you kind of trying to pass down the line to Elle?
Yeah, well, I mean, KT was here when I first got here, so I've always looked up to Christy. I mean, I'm glad she's back, but that has not changed our relationship even when she left. I was still hitting her up. And she was in Dallas. We were able to kind of like link a little bit. But the biggest thing that I've learned from Christy is how to think the game. I think that's something that she brings not only as a point guard, but just as a player. Like you can see her mind working and her ability to break it down and just make it simple. Such a cute person. Like I need about 3, 4 words, you know, I don't need a paragraph. And she knows that about me. And so it's good to not only learn from someone who can teach it, but someone who can 100% do it 10 times over. And then passing it down to Elle, I've always thought of my leadership skills in the best way of leading by being. And that's one of the things that I try to always make sure to do, that I lead by example. And as I began to understand kind of how to think the game at a different pace in a different way, because she's seeing it from a different view than I am. I'm 100% seeing it from, I'm trying to score the ball every single time, you know, then make a play out of there. And she's seeing it from a point guard of view. So just being able to kind of lead by example, how you take care of your body, how you speak to teammates, how you get to know teammates, how important it is to get to know teammates, spend time with people and make deposits.
And then last thing for you, we just talked to Zahri, obviously, and you know, every time she talks to us, she talks about how thankful and grateful she is to be in that position. And I'm curious if that's something that like is obvious to you guys too, or what have you noticed about her from playing with her these past couple of weeks?
Yeah, I didn't know Zahri much outside of this. I mean, we talked from like time to time on like probably IG or something. But she does look happier. She does look comfortable. And when people are comfortable in a good way and not in a lazy way, because she's comfortable in a good way, they're able to flourish. And I'm excited for her because I think this is a really good year for her to not only remember who she is, but for her to take her game to a new level. So I'm really happy for her in that instance.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yep.
I think that's it. Thank
Perfect.
you.
Great. You
That
guys have a great
concludes media
day.
availability. We will see everyone in person tomorrow.
Right?
Hashtag that.